2022 has been a great year for gaming. Tons of long-anticipated games that have been released, and many more masterpieces have come out within only 1 year. Today I'll be going over the top 10 best games of 2022. First up is number 10, which is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, which is an action role-playing game or ARPG, and was originally released on the PSP in 2007, but just got a remake on December 13th, 2022. Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core is a prequel to Final Fantasy VII, which just got a remake in 2021. So it seems like Square Enix, who are the developers of the Final Fantasy series, are like trying to bring back the whole universe of Final Fantasy VII, especially since the world or characters don't carry on to the next Final Fantasy game because they're all standalone games. But Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is available on the Nintendo Switch, PS5, PS4, Xbox One, Xbox Series S, X, and PC. Next up is Sifu, which is a third-person fighting game where you're trying to get revenge on a group of people who killed your father. Every time you die in the game, you'll age when you respawn. When you're older, you're stronger and have more powerful moves, but you'll die easier in battle. I can already think of so many challenges I could make for this game. Sifu is available on the PS4, PS5, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Next up is Dying Light 2 Stay Human, which is the sequel to Dying Light 1. Dying Light 2 is the first-person open-world survival horror RPG, aka role-playing game. The plot of the game is that the game is set in 2036, which is 22 years after the events of Dying Light 1, and 15 years after the fall, which was an event in late December 2021, where a new mutant virus of the Heron virus breached the GRE containment and spread across the world, which began what is known as the modern Dark Ages. In the game, you play as a person named Aiden Caldwell who can run around the open world while using a glider and a grappling hook. There's been a lot of great open world games that have released this year, and Dying Light 2 is no exception. Dying Light 2 Stay Human is available on the PS5, PS4, PC, Xbox One, Xbox Series S, and Xbox Series X. The Last of Us Part 1 is a legendary action-adventure shooter game that first released in 2013, and is finally getting a proper remake. The game had an outstanding story, with the plot being that a disease had spread across the world, and when people get infected, they turn into, zombies / psychopaths. A man named Joel loses his daughter, Sarah, in this outbreak, and 20 years later, Joel is still grieving over the loss of his daughter. Eventually, Joel finds a girl named Ellie who he needs to protect, and after his friend and fellow survivor gets infected and dies. After first, Ellie and Joel are complete enemies, but then as they progress through the game, Ellie and Joel grow closer and closer together. You can explore many areas in this game and collect secrets while sneaking up on enemies to take them out before they alert other enemies to attack you. The Last of Us Part 1 Remake is currently available on the PS5. Next up, we have Bayonetta 3, which is an action-adventure hack-and-slash game which had 5 long years to wait for the game, but this amazing year of 2022 managed to fit Bayonetta 3 in. The game's story is that Bayonetta is killed by the destruction of worlds, and a witch in training named Viola manages to travel through the world bridge, which brings her to an alternate dimension with a different Bayonetta. Together, Viola and the different version of Bayonetta team up to defeat Singularity, the destructor of worlds. Bayonetta 3 is available only on the Nintendo Switch. Alright, now down to number 5, we have Xenoblade Chronicles 3, which is an open-world action RPG. The gameplay was pretty similar to Xenoblade 1 and 2, and the exploration once again has that masterful open world that can just make me compare this game and other Xenoblade games to so many other games. This series was one of the first good open world games. This was before a lot of award-winning open world games that have so much detail put into it. Games like The Witcher 3, Red Dead 2, Elden Ring, Breath of the Wild, Horizon, Skyrim. All those games. So much more have come after the first Xenoblade game. And it's just so great to see the series continue and to have more releases like Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And let's not leave out the story of this game, because Xenoblade has always done well with story, and Xenoblade 3 is no exception. Xenoblade 3 takes place after Xenoblade 1 and 2, but you don't really need to play or know the story of Xenoblade 1 and 2 to play 3. Xenoblade 3 is set in the world of Aeonis, where two nations are at war with each other. There's a lot more in terms of story with Xenoblade Chronicles 3, but I don't want to spoil anything, because this is really good. It's no wonder Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was nominated for Best Game of 2022. Xenoblade 3 is a Nintendo Switch exclusive game. Now down to number 2 is A Plague Tale Requiem, and another nominee for the Game of the Year of 2022. It's an action-adventure survival horror stealth game. It's a sequel to A Plague Tale Innocence and carries on its story. Basically, a kid named Hugo de Rune has a blood disease that his family must find a way to cure. There's a lot more lore to this game. I'm not going to spoil too much about this game because you should probably see it for yourself. I mean, if you've played A Plague Tale: Innocence, you could probably guess just how fantastic A Plague Tale: Requiem story is in terms of siblings or parents' love for their child or sibling. Throughout the game, you'll find many puzzles, places to explore, ways to fight your enemies or use stealth and kill them before they suspect anything. A Plague Tale: Requiem is available on PC, PS5, Xbox Series S and X, and the Nintendo Switch. Alright, so before we get to our top, let's go over some honorable mentions that aren't good enough to make it on this list, but still deserve to be mentioned. Splatoon 3, which is a third-person shooter game and the third installment to the Splatoon franchise, has new weapons, stages, and story, which is more than Splatoon 1 and 2 didn't have. Splatoon 3 is available only on the Nintendo Switch. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is a 3D installment to the Kirby franchise. It does its awesome job with its 3D gameplay, giving you many places to explore and giving you many scrolls that you can find throughout levels, which allow you to upgrade your abilities into more powerful ones. Other side missions like the Coliseum challenges, minigames, collecting all action figures, and completing all secret quests will also be present throughout the game to keep you busy if you ever get tired of the main quest at any time. Kirby and the Forgotten Land is available only on the Nintendo Switch. Stray is an adventure game and was a nominee for Best Game of 2022. It's a game where you play as a cat that gets stuck in this strange cyber city where all the humans are dead and everyone's a robot except you. Stray is available only on the PS5, PS4, and PC. Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope is a strategy game which is a sequel to Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Sparks of Hope has that same awesome exploration gameplay of just traveling around, getting off track, finding secrets, and other optional things in the game. Sparks of Hope also has new characters, worlds, and story. Sparks of Hope is available only on the Nintendo Switch. And Pokemon Legends Arceus is a game that is completely open in the area you're in, allowing you to freely roam around the area and catch Pokemon at your own pace, while paying the price of having loading zones when traveling around other areas. The game has a different story than other Pokemon games. The Pokemon trainers don't exist yet, and the Pokemon rampage all over the scene. Pokemon Legends Arceus is only available on the Nintendo Switch. Alright, so now with all those honorable mentions out of the way, we're now down to number 3, which is Horizon Forbidden West, which is the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn, which was a masterpiece for Guerrilla Games in terms of open world narrative, the side quests, the combat, the art style, and so much more. Horizon Forbidden West is an open world action RPG which carries over Horizon Zero Dawn's formula into a game that uses Horizon Zero Dawn's formula and learns how to make the game better in every way. In terms of gameplay, there's a new world that's much larger than Zero Dawn's world, but there's more underwater gameplay and the combat is more detail-oriented. Horizon Forbidden West story builds off of Horizon Zero Dawn's story, where Aloy, the character you're playing as, and her companions wander off into the Forbidden West to find the source of a plague that will kill every life it infects. I won't reveal anything else about either games because you should really experience the events of both games for yourself. Horizon Forbidden West was also a nominee for the Game of the Year for 2022. Horizon Forbidden West is available on both the PS4 and PS5. Down number 2, we have God of War Ragnarok, which is an action-adventure game that's a sequel to God of War 4, aka God of War 2018. God of War Ragnarok is a game that shows a relationship between a father and son who both want the best for each other but have poor communication between each other. Both games have a story that is based around Norse mythology with some changes. The story takes place after the end of God of War 4 when Kratos kills Baldur, the son of Freya. This started Ragnarok, which is basically the end of the world in Norse mythology. Ragnarok starts with Fimbulwinter, which basically means that it's snowing everywhere. One day, Kratos and Atreus, Kratos' son, are attacked by Thor and Odin, as hinted from God of War 4's secret ending. While Kratos battled Thor, the god of thunder and son of Odin, Odin was alone with Atreus and tried to turn Atreus onto his side. He tells Atreus that he'll give him the answers to all of his questions, like why the giants in Jotunheim referred to him as Loki in the prophecies. In God of War 4, Kratos and Atreus barely know each other after Atreus' mother died. But by God of War Ragnarok, we see that Kratos and Atreus have formed an even closer relationship. However, throughout God of War Ragnarok, we see that Kratos and Atreus have formed an even closer relationship. There's a lot of heart-to-heart moments in this game for many characters, and this isn't just for Kratos and Atreus. Emotions like love, sadness, and anger are all present throughout the game. And as you play through God of War Ragnarok, the end of the world gets closer and closer, and soon it'll be too late to do anything. And Atreus also saw a prophecy showing Kratos' dead body on the wall, and Atreus is doing everything he can for preventing his father from dying. However, Kratos is stubborn and repeatedly tells Atreus that he doesn't believe in these prophecies. God of War Ragnarok's gameplay consists of playing as both as Kratos and Atreus, who both have different weapons and movesets. You can explore many areas that lead to many side missions and rewards that can make you even more powerful and prepared for your next battle. After the game ends, there is a post-game where you can unlock multiple secret endings. God of War Ragnarok is available on the PS5 and PS4. And I'll be honest, I thought this was going to be the one that won the Game of the Year for sure. Right as when it got released, and especially after it was nominated for one of the best games of 2022. However, there's still one more nominee that we have not talked about yet, and I was rooting for this game ever since its early release in February 2022. And that game is Elden Ring! Yeah, you probably already expected this, especially if you watched my Elden Ring playthrough. But seriously, Elden Ring is probably one of the best games of the last 5 to 10 years. It's an open world action RPG with an incredible world to explore, with each area having its own story. There's so many mini areas that you can explore, all sorts of loot, and so many side missions that can change the game's ending depending on which quest it is. Many have said that Elden Ring is incredibly hard, but Elden Ring can be really easy if you make it that way for yourself. My beginner's guide for making Elden Ring easier will be linked in the description below, but how to summarize how to make the game easier for you, you'll also keep in mind that your armor, weapons, and level all work together. Each weapon has a rank for each class. Each class is something that you can level up by using runes that you can get from killing enemies. You have a staff that has an S tier intelligence, which is better than A tier, then using a set of armor that's dedicated to an intelligence build, combined with a high intelligence level can make the game really easy. It can be the same with having other classes like strength, dexterity, and faith, and arcane. If you combine anything, especially with buffs adding to that class or that build, then you can make the game really easy for you. Elden Ring's story has a very dark mood, with the prologue being the Elden Ring, which basically holds up the lands between, which is the land you're playing in, exists, which was destroyed by the Elden Ring, but by the ruler of the lands between, which is Queen Marika, and yeah, so this triggered a war across the lands between to gain control of the Elden Ring's pieces, which are the Great Runes. And you play as a Tarnished, a group of people that come back to life every time they die. You must claim the Elden Ring and become Elden Lord. Everyone believes that this is impossible since no Tarnished has ever become Elden Lord, but you can be the first one to do it. And as you come across each person who holds a Great Rune, which are the relatives of Queen Marika who shattered the Elden Ring, you can learn about what has happened to them, and when you meet them and you eventually kill them, and you'll also learn the story by hearing about it from other people that you encounter. And this game is full of secrets across the whole game, and it can really make you feel excited to jump into the game just by thinking about it. Elden Ring is available on the PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and PC, Xbox Series S and X. Elden Ring was not only nominated for the best game of 2022, but it was also the well-deserved winner of Game of the Year. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. This took me a really long time to make. This video has actually been deleted from my files for so many times. So if you did like the video, please press a like and subscribe to see more of my content. This is my first top 10 best games list, hopefully one of many more. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all later.